Good evening, cult members, and welcome to the Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And this is episode...
We don't remember anymore.
we don't... I was told there was no math on this show.
But what about 100? We're getting so close.
We're going to say this is 100.
No, we have to have a big party, remember? We were going to wear hats, and I have poppers
We
now.
do have poppers. I will have to do some math, because there's a few lost episodes in there, so...
That's true.
It would be like 102 maybe, or something. I don't know. We'll figure out something.
Okay.
We could just have a party just to have a party. To hell with it.
We could, but it's...
We could do what the comics do, and when we get to a new studio, we can renumber from 1 and
Start over again.
start over again. Reissue number 1 with 17 variant covers and. No, okay,
Sure.
We're gonna start off this week with some distressing news to my pocketbook. Jeff motherfucking Goldblum is coming to Phoenix Fan Fusion. Our Comic Fest, our Comic Con Festival Fusion.
Comic Con. We didn't say the other word. Don't sue us, San Diego.
What if we just don't say the C, the second C? Comic Con.
Comic Con?
Comic Con?
No, Comic On.
Comic On. There we go. He's coming. Elijah Wood's coming. John Borman's coming. If they announce Peter Capaldi, we're in a lot of trouble.
Well, let's see. This is March, right? So, I mean, I guess we still have a month and a half of
We
probably
have 64 days or something like that.
Yeah, but when do they usually stop announcing?
About 2-3 weeks before is when they stop really announcing. Like there's the date is coming for the ship. They'll ship the wristbands or whatever, the badges or whatever they do.
Right.
So that date's coming. So they're probably gonna do
a little bit of a push there.
Push here.
Yep.
And we have George Takei, Nichelle Nichols, and Walter Chekhov are all coming too. Nichelle Nichols is not doing a panel, but I'd actually really just see the three of them do a.
Yeah, that's kind of sad that she's not doing a panel.
It would be cool if the three of them did like the Rocky Horror, where the three of them were here and they did like a little 15-minute panel, and then they did Rocky Horror. So do Star Trek the motion picture, and have the three of them come out and do a thing, and then do a showing. See, ideas. Fan Fusion. There you go. So we're super excited. Let's talk about Star Wars, though, because Star Wars is way cooler. Last Friday, my wife texts me and says, "Do you want to go to the symphony tonight?" And yes, I do, actually, because they were doing A New Hope with the Phoenix Symphony. Now, this is not a new thing that they're doing. They've been doing it for a while. They did John Williams
actually did one
at the Hollywood Bowl, which I'm really bummed. I would have totally
have
driven out for that one. But we got tickets and we went downtown. It was very weird walking around downtown talking about Fan Fusion. Without cosplayers and people everywhere and music going.
Empty.
It was so much more room for activities. And we went to our little Irish pub down there 2 days before St. Patrick's Day, and we got to go sit in the third row and watch A New Hope because we've only seen it once or twice, and this week. And watch the symphony play John Williams' score as we watch the movie. And so they have the movie on a big screen and with all the dialogue and everything, and then all the music is played by the symphony, the Phoenix Symphony.
Yep.
And it was pretty awesome.
It was very interesting. We have a couple of insights. So, one, it was cool. Like you said, they had the dialogue, like the captioning at the bottom of the movie, so that if you couldn't, because it's the symphony, so it could be a little loud or a little overwhelming at times, so that you could actually hear or read along what they're saying.
Right.
Which was cool, because there's always, we've seen this movie a million times.
Right.
But there's always like, I didn't realize they were saying that there, right?
Yeah,
and sometimes the music's just playing over it or whatever. While the third row normally is a very awesome place to be.
Yeah.
And I am not, we got these tickets for free. That was awesome. We got to go see this. That was amazing.
Yeah.
That, just for future note, that is not where you want to be when you go see the symphony play for a movie, because at least here our symphony is up on the stage and then the movie screen is there. And so I wanted to like see what everybody was doing all the time, and all you can see is kind of what's right there in front of you. The balcony is the place that you want to be.
Yeah, because then you're looking down on the orchestra itself.
The orchestra
and see all the different players and stuff.
And then you'd get sucked into the movie and forget that you're like, oh, I need to
wait.
Pay
There's
attention.
an orchestra in front of us.
Yeah.
Because of where we were sitting, I watched. There was one specific violinist that was playing. Who was actually kind of like straight across from where we were sitting.
The guy.
The bald guy on the other side of the conductor.
Yeah.
Is who I was, just because of the way everything was seated, he was the easiest one to watch.
Yeah.
And that section was playing a different string section than the one that was directly in front of us.
Okay.
And so I was watching him, and then I turn around and I look at the people that were in front of us and kind of go back and forth and watch. And it was very interesting to see them all actually do. If you hear gunshots in the background, it's not gunshots. They're re-roofing the house next door. So
it's a nail gun.
It's a nail gun. But it was very interesting to watch them like read the music and play along, and you know, the professional musicians. And it was just kind of cool.
Although they did all, like when they had a down moment or when there wasn't any music, they were all watching the movie.
Yeah,
which they've got to watch for their cue, but I thought that was kind of cool.
There was a scene where Vader shows back up later on in the movie, and they're all playing, and then they start playing. It's not the Imperial March, because they made a point of saying...
It's a little close.
It's close.
You're getting there.
They actually talked about it before, that you weren't going to hear the Imperial March because they don't use it in A New Hope.
Yeah.
They use it in Empire Strikes Back. And so it's kind of close, and so they're playing along, and Vader shows up, and like 4 or 5 of them were like looking up at the screen watching as they're playing, and I was just like, that's really cool. And they did an intermission, which I thought was... so it gave everybody a chance to kind of mingle and stuff. And
that's a symphony thing.
It's a symphony thing, which was really cool. The other thing, too, was we kind of, we're going to the Phoenix Symphony. Do we get dressed up?
Yeah.
But
we're going to go see Star Wars.
So we wore Star Wars shirts, and I'm glad we did, because I'd say it was about a 50-50 mix of people who were actually in their Star Wars shirts, or the 501st was there.
Yep.
We had some cosplayers out in the lobby taking photos with everybody, which I thought was really cool.
Yep.
And then you had the people who just come for the symphony on a regular basis.
Yeah,
and
the season ticket holders.
Season ticket holders, which was kind of cool to see them too, and they were very much into it as well.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was cool to have a different view of a movie that I've seen a bunch of times and know so well.
And there, in this situation, there is a very large dichotomy of people, right? So you've got the season ticket symphony people in their nice outfits, generally older,
right?
But they were into the movie. Like, people were laughing at like C-3PO, and I don't remember the last time that I've been in an audience interacting with that movie, because you just don't. I mean, we saw it a long time ago in the movie theater when they re-released it with all the changes.
The latest edition of the
they added Jabba in the scene where Han's going. So, and that was 20 plus years ago.
Yeah.
And so that was cool. And then there's little kids with their parents.
Yeah.
And they're like enthralled. They're glued to the screen.
There was a couple behind us who had a son and a daughter, and I actually had to ask during the intermission, because the son and daughter were I don't fucking care. Were enthralled in the movie, and so I walked over at the intermission. I'm like, I'm sorry to be that guy, but how old are your kids? And the son was 9 and the daughter was 11, and multiple times I would just kind of like lean over my shoulder and look, and they were like super into the movie, and I just thought that's what Star Wars is. It's a passed down from generation to generation to generation, and so to have a younger generation see Star Wars and see it with a symphony, was like kind of a nice dichotomy and stuff like that. They're doing Harry Potter, so we're talking about doing Harry Potter in the fall. They're doing Half-Blood Prince, I think, in
soonish
April or May, or
and then
like that.
Empire. Midsummer,
something like that, and
then so they're kind of going back and forth between the Harry Potter and
now
the
that
Star
we've done
Wars.
it for free. Now I might actually want to spend the money and sit in the balcony and do it the right way. So, but it was way fun. Or definitely, if your local symphony is actually doing it, or you have a chance to go to Hollywood Bowl and do it, definitely do it. It's definitely a lot of fun to see live musicians play the scores that we all love,
and you get a all new appreciation. That movie has music. 99% of it, and the strings, like they were constantly, like I'm like, how are your arms not just dead at the end for 2 hours?
And they got 3 standing ovations, like three times. They tried to leave.
The conductor came back out,
3 times. So twice, that was pretty awesome.
Yep.
And we also went to the first night, so that was kind of helpful too. They had some energy and stuff. All right, let's talk about it. And the biggest surprise move since the snapping, James Gunn got rehired by Disney and Marvel to direct Guardians 3. Now, I will give my thoughts on it. However, what I do want to talk about first is the timing of this release. It came out about noon our time here in the Arizona, because we don't move our clocks. Noon about our time, from Deadline, and Deadline was the first to report it, that he had been rehired.
And that was Friday.
That was
Thursday?
Friday. It was Friday, and then about an hour later, it was confirmed by James Gunn. He actually gave a very heartfelt tweet about thanking the fans and thanking Disney for rehiring him and everything like that.
And he's been off Twitter since the firing.
Since June, when all the stuff kind of came down. We have talked about it on the show in the past. The firing was, I'll just say it, goddamn ridiculous. Disney had already dealt with and talked to him about these tweets that were 5-6 years old at that point in time.
Yeah.
And he had said that he's not even the same person who made these. They're bad jokes, is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And who was it? Alan Horn, who is like the one under Bob Iger, pretty much just put his foot down and said, "You're out."
And demanded.
And he had a couple different meetings with James Gunn and Kevin Feige, and Alan Horn, who was a like super family man. Like he made a point of like nobody can smoke in anything that Disney owns, and like he was he's a super not conservative, but is worried about the family image that is Disney.
Right. Oh, by the way, Walt was gay.
Walt was gay and probably a Nazi, but
that's okay.
Very racist.
Very racist.
But Alan Horn drew a line in the sand, and in this world of I gotcha media, I don't know what else Alan Horn or Disney or Bob Iger could have done at that point in time.
I think it was a snap judgment, and I think that while the Me Too movement, because that was
part of it,
very hyped up at that point, is wonderful. This stuff needs to come out. It needs to be exposed so that it stops happening. There's now that a lot of this stuff is actually starting to roll through the court systems. We're finding out that a lot of it wasn't true. or is unsubstantiated
or overblown
money grab. Some of it is true, that definitely, a lot of it is, but you can't. It was a snap decision, and I think if they'd given it some time, but then, now you like, I made this decision, I'm standing by it, even though everybody's like, wait a minute, we're not gonna. We, the Guardians of the Galaxy, are not going to be in Guardians 3 if you don't let James Gunn back in. And James Gunn already apologized for this. And they've already, and all that stuff started coming out. Well, you've already made your decision. You've already put your foot down. And going back on it then looked way weaker than going back on it now.
No, that's totally what it was. And they from jump, they said from the firing going forward, Disney and Marvel had always said, we're using James Gunn's script. It's already done. We're going to use it and go forward. They had already started using some of the stuff that he had set up in Guardians, and also in he actually helped write part of at least the Titan scenes and the Galactic scenes and stuff like that.
But that's another thing they didn't think about. They didn't think it through because no other director out there wanted to take it.
And that's what I was kind of saying. Like, everybody started coming out and saying Taika Waititi should do it, and he's like, no, it's not. It's not my story.
Yeah.
And it's cool that everybody thinks I should do it, but and then Adam McKay was in the talk for a while too, and Adam's like, no.
They're all like, who would be great director for Guardians 3? James Gunn.
Edgar Wright, Taika, Ryan Johnson, like all of these people who were talked to by Disney to do the movie, all of them said no. The best person to do this job is James Gunn.
Yeah.
So we have all of that, and then on Friday they announced that they are rehiring him to be the director for 3, and this is complicated because he's already been hired by Warner Brothers to do the Suicide Squad, which is going to be the Suicide Squad reboot, sequel, whatever you want to call. They're recasting it. They're bringing in new characters and stuff like that. He's writing it. He's directing it, and he's going to be part of the Disney or the DC Warner Brothers umbrella with what they're doing over at DC, which I'm going to say out loud, looks like they got their shit together. But so now everybody's like, how are you going to do both? How are you going to do the Suicide Squad and do Guardians 3? And in the article from Deadline, this decision was made months and months and months ago. Okay, I won't say months and months and months ago. A few months ago.
Yeah.
And after having long discussions with Alan Horn and Kevin Feige and James Gunn and everybody else involved, and part of the reason that they agreed to this was because of how James handled everything. Part of that was, too, getting hired on at Warner Brothers.
Right.
And so they are going to give James the room to go do the Suicide Squad.
Right.
Get it all done. They already have a script for Guardians. So it's not like he has to go out and write a script.
Right.
And then they'll go into the whole.
And we don't even know what the timeline is for Guardians 3 at this point. Once this
Endgame
is over,
right.
What are they calling it?
The Infinity Saga.
So once
all
Endgame
22
is over,
movies are going to be called the Infinity Saga.
Right. And so then they'll come out maybe at San Diego and announce,
here's our slate for the next D23 is supposed to happen this summer, so maybe it's at that.
Okay. Yeah.
So maybe you'll have something like that.
So it could be end of 2020.
Well, so right now the Suicide Squad is set to be released August 6th of 2021.
Oh wow, that's way out there.
Right. So that's where it is. That's where it sits right now. But I from what I was able to read and find out and stuff like that, they're supposed to start shooting it August, September
of this year. So they're going to have a lot of CGI if it's...
Well, that would give them a year and change to do the CGI or
that would
whatever.
give them 2 years.
Yeah. And I would not be surprised if this is one of those movies that gets moved. Like, it gets moved up to May. Especially if, because we don't know anything after Endgame other than Homecoming.
Right.
And the Black Widow movie, which is getting very interesting very quick. We don't know anything for sure, and there's no dates for anything other than Homecoming.
Right.
So Marvel might do a step back, and DC can fill that hole. And so I just find it very interesting that they're going to just, like, both companies are, like, playing ball here and saying, hey, let's do this. Let's make it work for James. Let's work for my company and your company, and let's all go forward from here. You don't rehire him unless you know for sure that his pedophile jokes weren't just him, like, admitting to stuff, right? And the jokes were about pedophilia and they were bad jokes or whatever.
Right.
But you don't rehire him without doing a lengthy investigation, which might be also part of why the time period was so long from the firing to the rehiring and stuff.
I don't know. I mean, lots and lots and lots of celebrities, comedians have said things, 10 years ago when people weren't as awoke as is the new term.
That's a good word.
So yeah.
The only other thing that I wanted to talk about with this is the cooperation between Warner Brothers and Marvel. I was thinking about this today. Marvel and Sony were able to work out an agreement where they co-released the Spider-Man stuff and all the Spider-Man universe and stuff like that, and making Spider-Man part of the Marvel MCU and all that kind of stuff. Everyone, if you asked, who understands, wants the crossover of all crossovers. They want Justice League and the Avengers. It actually did happen in the comic. It would make a ton of sense. You could do it like at Elseworlds or whatever else. Does this inadvertently lay the groundwork for that happening 5-10 years down the line?
Well, not with the same people.
No, I'm not saying but the company-wise.
Yeah.
The company conversation to get James Gunn to be able to work for both companies.
Yeah.
Inadvertently, in my eyes, lays groundwork for them doing something together down the line.
Or is this mothership Disney and everybody else is
if we're going to start doing
just playing in your sandbox.
If we're going to do mothership Disney comments, I'm going to start wearing a tinfoil hat.
Well,
it's not. I mean, if Disney buys Warner Brothers, there's nobody else.
Well, I know, and hopefully
Fox. No, they just bought Fox.
FCC
Sony
wouldn't let them. Is it the FCC?
Yeah, I think it's the FCC.
Hopefully, they wouldn't let them.
Corporation Commission or something like that. One other thing about the Marvel stuff that I want to talk about was Captain Marvel made $67.9 million this weekend. That's 264 worldwide and 760 or 264 domestically, 760 million worldwide in 10 days.
But Brie Larson is going to be horrible, and this is going to be a stupid movie. Shut up.
So if you follow us on Facebook, I posted this artist fan art thing that came up, and it was Brie in the Captain Marvel outfit with a sippy cup because she went to the movie theater and was like working behind the counter.
Yeah.
And it said hater tears, and she was drinking out of it, which is crazy. So today I found there was the same artist who had the same pose. It was just a little bit different. Brie, Captain Marvel, hater tears, sipping on it, and a bucket of popcorn that said all the monies, and money was falling out of it. I'm dying over here, guys.
Are you going to make it?
I'm having all kinds of issues. It's spring in Arizona. Everything's having sex. So yeah, there's some money to be made there, and in games in 32 days or something like that.
Begin
and go. All right, the last thing we're going to talk about is something I've been wanting to talk about for a while. they're doing the Dune remake. We've kind of mentioned it back and forth and a couple different things. Denis Villeneuve, one of my favorite directors on the planet right now, because of After 2049, Arrival, and Sicario. I still haven't seen Prisoners. I haven't seen Prisoners. He got done with 2049. Actually, when he was before he started working on 2049, he said, I want to do Dune.
Yeah.
And the reason he wanted to do 2049 was because he didn't want anybody else to do it and screw it up. Now, they spent $250 million on making that movie and another probably $200 million on advertising
Marketing.
and stuff like that. And I don't even think they made their money back.
Yeah.
And they spent way too much money on it, but it's freaking gorgeous.
Which
is
is sad, but it's an amazing movie.
It's so well done. Next level done. That will be like the original Blade Runner. 10 years down the line, everybody's gonna go
People
back.
People will be like, why didn't we love this movie?
Right. And if he does 17 director's cuts, I'm gonna shoot him in the face. Not really.
Ridley Scott.
That wasn't really Ridley's fault. That was the studio wouldn't allow him to release the original version.
So he just dribbled it out in bits and pieces.
It is Ridley Scott. So they started filming today on this movie, and it comes out in 2021 as well. And so that means they got a year and a half when they get done with principal photography and stuff like that. However, the cast is, oh my God.
Right.
So Timothée Chalamet is playing Paul Atreides. Like the book, Paul Atreides is 18, 19, 20 in the book. That's that kind of that late teens kind of thing. Timothée Chalamet, I think, is actually like 22, but he can pull off that younger...
Right, not 30-something Kyle MacLachlan.
And I love the Fincher version. I love the Fincher version.
Yeah.
But it's very different from the book.
Yeah.
And the sci-fi version they did a few years ago is closer to the book and much more colorful. But
it drags.
It's you think the Fincher 3.5-hour version is long.
Yeah.
Holy cow. The book is really I really like the book, but there's some times where you're like, okay, Jesus. All right, I'm going to have to listen to this in like 5 times speed to get through this section. Okay, so we get Timothée Chalamet, who has had 2 Oscar nominations in the last 2 years, playing Paul Atreides. Perfect. His father is going to be played, Duke Leto Atreides, is being played by Oscar Isaac. Okay. Time out. Oscar Isaac is now going to be in 2 gigantic sci-fi franchises.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't see them doing multiples.
Oh, there's like books.
Okay.
So if it really connects and they can really go for it, and they
he's done with Star Wars, right?
Well, he's done with Star Wars for now. I still have theories that they're going to come back in 15 years and do 9, 10, 11, or 10, 11, 12. But it's medieval politics in space. Is what Dune is. And so having somebody of Oscar's acting chops and Timothée Chalamet's acting chops, all of a sudden, like the expectations for this movie was off the charts as it was for me, because Denis Villeneuve is doing Dune, and now you've got these 2 actors directly involved in this movie. Oh, by the way, Duncan Idaho is Jason freaking Momoa.
He's so hot now.
Lady Jessica is Rebecca Ferguson, which is like, okay, the chick who's going to replace Ethan Hunt in Mission Impossible is going to play the Reverend Mother. Are you like they're going to shave her head to like here, and she's going to take the water of life and like the blue eyes, and just like she's got the blue eyes as it is. Gurney Halleck is played by Josh Brolin because he needs another freaking franchise to be in. Shanae, Paul's girlfriend
on the planet, the Spice Girl.
The Spice Girl. That's totally what she is. On Arrakis is being played by Zendaya from Homecoming.
Okay. MJ?
Yeah. Which is cool. Cool.
Cool.
The Beast Ruban As soon as they announced this, I'm like, oh my God, he's the Beast. David Bautista is playing the Beast Ruban. So he's gonna be the one who's running around and like pulling the plugs out of people and stuff like that. Oh my God. Okay, so you're in Guardians. I'm totally geeking out. I'm sorry. So we get
You're not even keep going.
Stilgar is Javier Bardem. Motherfucker has got a gold statue. Are you kidding me? Baron Harkonnen is Stellan Skarsgård. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. And then like, okay, so the Charlotte Ramley is playing the older Reverend Mother. David Desdemoss is playing Peter Gervais. He's the head on Arrakis. He's the head.
Oh yeah.
He's like the head kind of guy.
The head of the tribe.
The head
or
of the
whatever.
tribe.
Yeah.
And then Chen Chang, who's done a whole bunch of different things, is playing Dr. Yao. Yui. Dr. Yui.
Oh,
who's
Yui,
the one
yeah.
who portrays, and so very diverse cast. You got Asians and Hispanics, and it's of course you got Hispanics. It's Denis Villeneuve. Well, he's French, I think. But just you've got Oscar winners or Oscar nominated people. You've got Denis Villeneuve, who should have an Oscar nomination for Arrival. How that movie did not get freaking more love. You got to be kidding. And 2049 is one of my top 10 movies of all time, and so is Arrival. So everything they're doing to add to this movie and build this movie, it's going to be almost impossible not to blow it out of the water. I'm excited for this movie. It doesn't come out for a year and a half.
And then there was an announcement today.
So then the announcement today, because there isn't a bunch of fucking stuff going on with this thing, is Hans Zimmer is doing the music. Hans Zimmer is doing the music. Are you kidding me with this? I'm actually going to look it up because I didn't look it up earlier. Damn, it's not on here. Wait, there, it's right there. I'm looking up to see if Roger Deakins is doing the cinematography. Oh my God. Okay. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. I'm on the IMDb's. Full cast. That's writing credits. Eric Roth, Denis Villeneuve,
John Spina. Music, cinematography, Greg Fraser.
Greg Fraser.
Zero Dark
30, Rogue One, Vice. Okay, yeah, he's fine. The Mandalorian. He worked on the Mandalorian. Mandalorian, Vice, talking about yourself. Rogue One, The Gambler,
Zero Dark 30,
Snow White,
The Snow White and the Huntsman,
which actually is a terrible movie, but actually it's shot beautifully.
Yeah.
Last Ride. So his cinematography style, which is Roger Deakins is a god amongst men.
Yeah.
It took him 17 tries or whatever to get a goddamn Oscar. It's ridiculous for 2049. You can tell how excited I am. Like, I love Star Wars, but I love the Dune book. I love the Fincher version of the movie.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. We're those people. We own the Fincher extended Uber cut, and we own the Uber cut of the sci-fi version too.
Yes. Yes. I want to see this in giant IMAX.
Oh yeah. Well, it's going to be seen in IMAX. If they do it in 3D, we'll be seeing it in 3D too.
Yeah. Dolby 3D, because once you go Dolby, you can't go back.
Oh my God! Alita Battle Angel and frickin' Atmos surround special glasses, ruin movie experiences for us. If we ever go to the 4DK where the seats move and they blow the smoke in your face and stuff like that, movies are ruined. They need to put one of those in here. And
do they have one in San Diego? Maybe we could go while we're there.
No, it's in LA. LA, Chicago, New York. I think Houston. I'll just skip that whole week and just go up and we'll do Scum and Villainy and go to the 4DX.
It would be cheaper.
It would be cheaper. I'm not saying that San Diego's gonna be very expensive for one day, but it's gonna be very expensive for one day.
Yes. It'll be an adventure.
It will be an adventure for our pocketbooks. So that's our thoughts this week. What do you guys think? Let us know if you're excited about the Dune remake with Denis Villeneuve. Give us your opinion on the rehire of James Gunn. We obviously have made it known that we thought he should have never been fired, and we're super excited that he's coming back. But let us know what you think. And also, does this increase your excitement about the Suicide Squad, knowing that there probably will be a connection between the two of them at some point in time? It'll make a reference between the two.
There'll be a small rocket statue somewhere.
Something. Somebody will pick up a tree and go, I am... No? All right. Like this video. Please subscribe to this channel. Help us out on Patreon. We're working towards a goal there. And follow us on all of our social media stuff. All that's down here somewhere. Down here. And until next time, good night, cult members.